In my previous recording called Belonging, I spoke about how belonging was not about finding a place where everyone accepts you, and that perhaps it was about finally becoming the place where you accept yourself. And today I want to talk about that acceptance, self acceptance, and the peace that comes along with it. And I'm not talking about the peace that comes from having everything figured out, not the kind that comes from life finally going your way, but the kind that comes from being at peace within yourself. Because if I'm honest, for most part of my life, I was always trying to fix something about me. And people who know me know this about myself, that I'm very conscious about my smile. And I was not able to fix that. Then there was a lot of trying to look my best and try to change my tendency of putting others before myself at the cost of my own self-care and my inability to push back and correct the mistakes that I made, and so many things. I kept trying to fix myself, hoping that one day after I had improved enough and after all my responsibilities were over and when I had finally achieved enough and given enough, and when I had become enough, I would finally find my peace. But here I am, telling you the truth that it never worked. It's not working. Because every time I tried to fix one thing, something else appeared. And then I didn't realize that I was turning my life into a project. I was constantly trying to become someone I could finally accept. But a few years ago, I learned about a concept in transactional analysis. It is about I am okay, people are okay. And in these two short sentences, right, what I realized is the two extremes and the space that exists between that. The extremes that I'm talking about is the extremes of perfect and imperfect, good and bad, successful, unsuccessful. But between all of this, there is that other space, the space in between. And I want to call that space becoming. Because suddenly I could see something I had missed for years. And that growth was never the opposite of acceptance, but acceptance was the foundation of growth. Because the truth is, we are all works in progress. Every single one of us. Not one person has arrived, not one person has finished, not one person has become everything they're capable of becoming. And maybe that's exactly how life was meant to be. And the moment I stopped expecting completion or the destination, I began to appreciate the journey. And with that came peace. Today, acceptance means something very different to me. It doesn't mean settling. It doesn't mean giving up. And clearly doesn't mean stopping growth. It means for me to be in sync with the process of becoming. It means understanding that people become who they are when they're ready to become. And that I don't need to convince anyone to see something that they are not ready to see. Their journey belongs to them and mine belongs to me. And perhaps that's what many people misunderstand about acceptance. They think acceptance means lowering your expectations so you can finally accept things that don't work. But I think the opposite is true. Acceptance allows for growth to happen without rejection. Because what if the journey isn't about becoming something new? What if it's about unbecoming everything that isn't really you, so you can finally become who you were meant to be. That thought changed everything for me, and somewhere along the way, I stopped apologizing for myself, my feelings, my truth. I stopped needing permission to exist exactly as I am, because I realized that nothing is worth trading my authenticity for. Nothing. Because every time I traded my authenticity, I lost my peace. And every time I returned to it, peace returned too. And today I have come to realize that peace is the universe's natural state of being. It exists in the being, not doing, not proving, not becoming more, just being. And perhaps peace begins with just giving yourself enough space to exist, enough compassion to say, it's okay, I'm okay. Not because you've figured everything out, not because you've become everything you hope to become, but because you're here, learning, growing, becoming, and maybe that was always enough. Because peace doesn't arrive the day we become perfect. Peace arrives the day we stop treating ourselves as a problem to solve. Because maybe self-acceptance isn't the end of growth. Maybe it's where growth finally becomes possible.